the way that Sage 100 interfaces with Excel. So there's two possibilities to get information from Sage 100 to Excel. One of them is what I call the push method, and that is where you're starting in Sage and you're pushing the data into Excel. The other way is the pull method, and that is you're starting in Excel and pulling the data out of Sage 100 and into Excel. So we're going to go through each of these with a small demonstration. We're going to go through exporting capabilities from lookups, exporting capabilities from grid entry or data entry screens, capabilities from tables, and then we're also going to look into some database querying. We're pulling in information into Excel, and then we're going to look at Sage Intelligence Reporting, which is a Excel-based report writer. So we also have webinars on Sage Intelligence Reporting and BizNet, which are both Excel-based report writers, which we'll touch on briefly. So let's go ahead and start with the ways we can push data out into Excel. One of the easiest ways to grab data out of math is to push into Excel by using custom lookups. So I'm sure you guys are familiar with custom lookups. So let's go into customer maintenance. Anywhere that you see this magnifying glass here, you have a lookup. So let's go into the lookup for customer maintenance, and here's our customer list. It gives us customer number, name, it gives us status, zip code, phone number, and sort field. So this is just the standard lookup that comes with the system. You can actually customize this. So if you go down here on the bottom left-hand side, there's a custom button. So if we click on custom, we can actually name a new view. So we're going to call it state. We can have a default view or not a default view. We're going to keep it as not a default view for now. Now over here on the left-hand side, you have all the different fields that are available to you to add to this, let's say, report that we're going to create, okay? And then over here on the right side, these are the fields that are showing up currently, the selected columns that are showing up in that report or in that lookup. So let's go down here and add a few more columns. Let's look at, let's see. Pull up the credit limit, balance, aging categories. And we're going to pull over state. Let's find state in this list. Here we go. And we're going to look at the state as well. Okay, so next we can actually do a filter. So filtering comes in handy, like if, for instance, if you're looking at a sales order lookup and you want to look up sales orders specific to a salesperson, you can do a filter, and you can do a filter on each salesperson. So each salesperson has a view of their own filtered salesperson, so they can see what their open orders are they're working with in the system. So that's an example of a filter that you can set up. And you can set it up here in the process, or you can do it on demand when you're in the lookup. So here we have the initial display, what we've titled it, and this is just some basic information customer number begins with, and you can change this to say, instead of begins with, you can say contains. So if you're always looking up, let's say the name, the default search column can be name, and then the default search option can be contained. So you can instantly just type it in rather than having to change these fields. So that's helpful as well. And then we're going to click finish. So now if you look down here on the bottom, you'll see this view, and it gives you now the standard view, and it gives you the state view. So the standard view is what is going to show you for the standard lookup that it's going to show you, but we can also look at the state view. So here's the state view. And let's expand that so we can see. So now we have our sort field, we have our credit limit, current balance, some aging categories, open orders, order amount, and then state. And so as I mentioned, you can always add in a filter after the fact. So let's say, for instance, I want to come in here, I can click on this filters button, and I can do let's see, I want to look at the state. The state equals to California. So for instance, we want to look at California only. So now it gives us filtered, it gives us all the customers that are in California. As you can see, they're all over here on the side. Now what you can do is you can actually export this into Excel. So down here on the bottom right-hand corner, if you can see, there's a little Excel button, Excel export button, and you just click on it, and it'll actually it'll export it to Excel. And so now we have a customer list that's in Excel, and it gives us all the information that we did. So we pretty much created a custom report. If you don't know how to use Crystal, you can always come in here and create a report in the lookup fields, or we'll pull in the fields that you want for the lookups, and then you can export that to Excel. And so this is updated automatically. So at any time, if you come back in here, let's say the current balance changes, this is going to be updated as soon as you open it. So you can always come back in here and re-export this out to Excel, so you have the most recent, up-to-date current balance or aging category, etc. So anywhere you see a magnifying glass is a lookup. So in AR customer, the list is lookup is item maintenance. Magnifying glass actually opens up the inventory list, do sales orders, open up your sales order PO, etc. So another possibility for us to export information into Excel is to export from grids. So let's go into customer maintenance again, and we're going to look at the history tab. There's just a note. Now, so here, as you can see, this is grayed out. So this is gray compared to if you look at this invoices, which is like a white listing of things. So with this, you can actually export. You can right-click in here and you can export to Excel. So here you can easily export this history information into Excel, and it gives you the period ending date. It gives you the sales, the cost of goods, profit percent, profit dollars, cash receipts, and number of invoices out there. So you can easily just export that information into Excel. Now, just because you see things in the table format, like, whoops, don't save that. Just because you see the information in here is grayed out, it doesn't necessarily mean you can actually export it. So this isn't a grid here. This here isn't a grid, so you can't export it from. So if you right-click in this, you can't, unfortunately, you cannot export. There's no Excel export button. Anywhere that is a shaded grid area, you'll be able to right-click and export into Excel. So here's this shaded grid area. So this is exporting from tables. Another possibility is if I have any type of data entry screen. So in sales order, for example, I'm going to use general journal entry, and this is going to look at, this is also going to work in cash receipts entry, invoice data entry, PO, sales order, etc. So anywhere that you see a data entry grid. So let's go into general ledger, and we're going to do a general journal entry. Okay, go to the Lines tab. So if you're doing journal entries, there's a trick that if you have an unbalanced, whoops, I don't want it there, I want it in the credit column. If you have an unbalanced journal entry, you can come over here and actually click on this sum button, or this is net balance. So if you click on the account number that you're using, and then you click on the sum, it'll give you the net balance, or it will give you the remaining amount that's left over. So if you're doing an entry to cash receipts and you want to know the remaining amount that goes to, not cash receipts, to cash account. If you want to know the remaining amount that goes to the cash account after your entries, you can just click on that button right there. So now that I have 3 lines here, understand that in this area you can come in and right click and have an export to Excel option that allows me to export my journal entry out into Excel. So you can do this in general journal entry, anywhere there is a data entry screen like cash receipts, invoice, data entry, PO, sales orders, etc. You can simply right-click in that pane and export to Excel. So this is a very nice tool within Sage. You can come in here and we can do a sum. We want to make sure that the entry balances. etc. So there's our exporting from data entry screens. Now, another area we can get information from is using business insights. So if you haven't used this tool, it's a very powerful tool. We actually have, we hold a whole lunch and learn on this feature. So you're able to get pretty much any information from Sage out into Excel using one of these views. So if you go to either Business Insights Explorer, you'll get a list of all the views, or under each module, there's an Explore folder where you can find the Explore views within each of the folders. So we're going to go to Customer Maintenance again. We're going to look up Accounts Receivable, and then we're going to look up Customer Views. So we're going to pretty much recreate that report that we did in the beginning in the custom lookups, and we're going to recreate it. So here it's going to give us a list of the customer, all the customer information. So it gives us the aging categories, the current balance, the salesperson, the credit limit, terms, etc. Down all that information. So as you can see, it kind of looks similar to an Excel-based table that you would have. So you can come in here and you can go to File and go to Edit and then go to Column Settings, and you can add additional columns in here. So we can go to Add, and here's the different tables that you have the availability to pull information from. So for instance, we have the AR customer table. We can pull in, we already have state out there. Let's add a few extra. So there we go, we've added a few. You also have those other tables that you can pull information into. So here it gives us a list. We can easily drag and drop information. So I can drag this column way over here so that it shows up in a different area. We can get rid of, we can easily drag and drop to get rid of a column. So if you want to get rid of that column, you can just exit out, drag it up to the top, and it will exit out of that. We have the ability to save this view, so you can actually save it as a public view or a private view. So a public view is going to be a view that everyone can view in the company, and then a private view is just a view that you yourself can view. And you have the ability to create charts, so we can create a chart, and we can actually look at current balance. Balance forward, and you can group those, etc. You can group it by customer to the highest, you can sort it, etc. So that's pretty cool. You can create a custom chart. So every time that I open this, it's updated with the most recent information. So I've saved this state. So if I exit out of this and then I come back in and I click on my state, it's going to be the most up to date. So there's multiple ways. And then actually we can export from here. So you go to Export Options, and then you go to Microsoft Excel, and it will export into Sage or into Excel. And now we have that same list, similar to the list that we saw in the custom lookup. There we go. And we have all that same information. And we can come through here. If we want, we can do a sum at the bottom. We can make this a table if we need to. We can make that, I'm not sure where to make the table, where it is. Format a table, there it is. So we can format this as a table. There we go. And now we can easily filter any of the information. We can filter it, we can sort it, etc. by clicking on those down arrows. And you can do the same thing in Business Insights Explorer. You can click on this, you can filter and sort it, you can do a custom, you can say, you know, anything that's greater than or equal to, let's say, $5,000. And it's going to filter it out for you. We can go over here, we can do, what was it, the same thing, we looked at the states, so let's look at all back here, and let's look at just the California states. And here's our list of all of our California customers out there. So those are so those are multiple ways we can push information into Excel from Sage 100. What I like to do on a regular basis is to actually pull information from Sage into Excel. And the way to do that is through a database query. With a database query, I can actually start in Excel. Let's close that and minimize this. Whoops, I want to go back into Excel. And I can come up here and go to Data, and then from other sources, and then from Microsoft Query. And so this is going to pull up a list of different data sources. So you'll have a list of all the different data sources. We want to use the SOTA 90. So SOTA 90 is the data source that you're going to always use when you're trying to do a Microsoft query, okay? So we'll say yes. It's going to ask us to log in. So we're going to log in here. And here's where we pick the table of information that we're looking for. The hardest part with this Excel query is knowing what table of information, what table you're looking for, what table to use. There's a ton of tables in here. As you can see, the first 2 digits is the module code, so AP, AR, SO, GL, etc. So that's how you determine what module it's going to be in. And then the next part is the name of the table. And then also there's a ton of these tables in here that end with the word work, WRK or work. These are all going to come up blank. The reason why they're going to come up blank if you do an Excel query to them is because it's a table that's populated on demand when you're running a Crystal report. So you don't want to try to do a query on any of those work tables or it's going to come up blank. So we're going to actually go to our customer table. Here we go. And we can choose what columns of information we want to bring over, or we can just do all of them. So I can click on this table and just do all of them, and it's going to pull all of the columns of information over. We can also do a filter. So similarly into the custom lookups, you can do a filter. So I can do actually a filter on state here. And then we could do a sort by, but we can skip that. And then we're going to return data to Microsoft Excel. And then here's where we're going to pick where we want the start of the report to go. And we'll just say, yes, that works for us. And it's going to ask us to log in one more time. And here we now have a list of the customers in California. And so we pulled over all of the fields in that table. So as you can see, there's a lot of fields: address, ship method, salesperson information. And we can actually pull over. Let's clean this up a little, make it a little less smaller report so it's not as big. There we go. Now we have our current balance, our aging category, our state, so all of our California customers. So this is actually a live table. So at any time you can come in here and you can right click. So I can save this report on my desktop. Okay, let's save it out to my desktop. You can close out of this. You can minimize that, and let's go find that report. So let's say next month I want to look at that report again. I can come in here, reopen that report, and I can just come in here and right-click. So I can right-click and refresh it at any point. It's going to ask me to log in again, and it's going to update that information. So another thing you can do is if you want to look at multiple companies of information, I can actually do a copy. I can copy this report and XYZ. We're going to look at, and all you have to do is right click in here. You click refresh, and then when it asks you what company code, you can choose the company code and just log in with that company code, and it will give us the new information. So now here's all of the XYZ companies that are in California as well. So finally, I'm going to go through Sage Intelligence. So this is a separate purchase. It's Sage's replacement to SRX, and it's an Excel-based report writer. So let's close out of these. And I'm in Sage 2016, so it's actually included in as a module in the program. So we're going to go to Report Manager. And we're going to actually look at inventory information. So let's run that out. So what it's doing is going out to Excel and pulling the information into Excel. What it did was create a predefined pivot table here. So with pivot tables, what you're doing is taking a table of information and you're displaying it in this type of report fashion so that you can use different filters to filter your list. Now with pivot tables, it starts with data. So if I come into change data source under analyze, let's see. Actually, we can just look at unhide. So there's sheet 1 parameters and company number. So we're going to look at sheet 1. So sheet 1, so this is all of the data. So I'm going to unhide sheet 1. You can notice what it kind of looks similar to those other tables that we've been looking at. So what you're doing is taking a table of data and creating a pivot table against it. So this is all of our information, our item information that we're running a pivot table on. So you can come in here to the pivot table and I can look at specific warehouses. I can say I just want to look at my central warehouse, and it gives us that information. I can say I only want to look at product line DC, and it filters that information even more. I can come in here and you can filter out information. I can sort it A to Z, etc. So this is a pivot table. So one other feature with Sage Intelligence that I'm going to show you guys is the dashboard. And if we run it, so let's close out of that. So there's dashboard. So if we run it, these are predefined or canned Excel reports that this report writer has. So it's going out to Sage 100, grabbing information, putting it into different tabs in Excel. So this is going to give us 2020 data, like test or my test companies in 2020. And then our budget code we're going to look at is original. So you can run this with your data, these reports. This is just looking at the ABC company data. And it's going out, it's pulling all the information, and it's a pretty cool dashboard. There we go, it should be almost finished. And here we have profit and loss information. We have top 5 expenses, top 5 customers by item, top 5 items, bottom 5 items, etc. And then we have charts and graphs over here that's looking at that information. So if we come in here and we unhide, we can actually look at the lookup. This is the information that's being pulled in to show us that dashboard. So this is if we work backwards, we can see from the dashboard, it's looking at the lookup AY8. So it looks up something, a field in this this tab. So a few things with Sage Intelligence. Sage Intelligence has a website called sageintelligencecommunity.com, and I'll show you that. Here we go, Sage Intelligence Community. And on this website, they have a forum where you can post questions about the product. They have webcasts and videos. They have a bunch of Excel tips and tricks. So you can go and pick the specific Sage Intelligence reporting. You can look at different videos that they offer, different webcasts, etc. So they have some YouTube videos that essentially go through things in Excel. So not only does it go through how to use the software, but it also how to design in Excel using the formulas. So certainly a couple of good resources available, not only with the product, but also some ways to use Excel and create charts, how to use lookup formulas when you're designing, etc. And also we have a BizNet is another report writer, and they have a website as well where they have a video library. It's the same thing. It's going to show you videos on how to do certain things in Excel, not just how to use their product, but how to do certain things in Excel. So these are also good resources to go out to. So that's pretty much it with going through Excel and our Sage 100 products. So I think we can open it up to any questions that anyone has. I don't see any in the chat window.
No, but I'll open up the phone line right now.
Perfect.
Okay, all lines are now open. Are there any questions?
Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Yes.
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, do you have a question?
No, I think I was on mute. I'm sorry. I put you on hold and then I jumped back over the call. No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, perfect. Any other questions out there? Ryan and Nick, I am not able to unmute your lines, so you may need to use the chat. One thing to remember with our new webinar format is you do want to enter your ID when you sign in, and that allows us to control your lines. But right now, I'm not able to unmute Nick and Ryan's lines. So if you have any questions, please raise a hand or do a chat, please.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yep. Yeah, I muted myself because I didn't have any questions. My apologies.
No problem. Just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing something.
Yep. Okay. In that case, I think we should be good.
Okay, perfect. Erin, I'm not seeing any questions out there, so thank you for that wonderful, oh wait, I do see a question here. Great info, thank you. Do we have this information in a PDF format or a PowerPoint we can email out?
I can email out the PowerPoint that I originally started with this information, but I don't have any other information in a PowerPoint presentation style.
Another thing to note, everyone, is that probably by tomorrow afternoon, this webinar will be posted up to our ISM YouTube channel. So if you want to get the location on that, just email me at AM for account manager, am@goism.com. And once it's posted, I will send you the link to that. So all of our Lunch and Learn webinars, we do post up to our YouTube channel, unless we've had technical difficulties or that type of thing. But most of them are posted up, and you can always rewatch it, rewind it, watch it again at your leisure. Okay, with that, I think that's it. Thank you, everyone, for your time. Please come back and visit us for our additional webinars this month. And as always, if you have any questions or any follow-up, you can always reach out to me at am@goism.com. Erin, thank you very much for the wonderful presentation. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Sherry. Thanks, everyone.